Savage Dragon 131 from December of 2006. The last issue released in 2006, and the last issue published for a while. Number 132 won't hit shelves until September of 2007. That's another 9-month delay for Erik Larsen on this series, and that's the second one in recent memory, so not great. But irregardless, this was a fun issue. A mixed tag match between Dark Dragon and Battle Axe, and She-Dragon and our titular hero, the Savage Dragon. I almost thought this was a connecting cover with the previous issue, but that's not the case, just kind of a similar use of the white background. Let's check this one out. Titled Siege. Credit to Erik Larsen, writer, artist, colorist, and letterer. Though he'll relinquish the lettering duties to John Workman next issue, maybe to speed up production or avoid criticism. Larsen getting blasted by some fans for the word balloons and lettering in this issue. It's a little rough in my opinion, but I've seen way worse. Bringing us to Josh Eckhorn, who is funkier than a mosquito's tweeter. Reference to a badass song by Ike and Tina Turner. Link in the description below. Oh boy, previously. With the aid of the all-powerful God Gun, Mr. Glum took over the world and commanded people to do his bidding. Dragon was forced to stay with Vanguard in his orbiting spaceship in order to avoid detection, but Mr. Glum discovered where he was hiding and destroyed Vanguard's ship, unwittingly releasing the planet-devouring menace Universo. Dragon destroyed the God Gun, Glum's wish was undone, and Solar Man was brought back to life. Mr. Glum fled to Dimension X in order to avoid Dragon's wrath, along with Dragon's daughter. Meanwhile, She-Dragon, having just been trapped in Dimension X, returned with Dragon's daughter from a parallel universe. Things got pretty hairy, but eventually Universo was defeated, and it was Solar Man who saved the day. Oh, and She-Dragon was followed, and her pursuers are up to no good. That brings us up to speed. Dark Dragon and Battle Axe, ready to ambush our heroes outside the Rock House Diner. Or one of them is. Dark Dragon tells her to cool her heels. They're outnumbered, he says, so she calls him a cowardly cur. Perhaps a sneaky reference to Dragon's true identity as Emperor Kerr, revealed in his origin story, which we covered just last week. Just to remind you what a piece of shit Dark Dragon is, he slaps Battle Axe in the face for insulting him. Definitely a bad dude, but his motivations are pretty clear. He wants revenge for the destruction of the 2 planets he called home. And the man single-handedly responsible for that is the Savage Dragon. We catch up with him right where we left off, enjoying a meal at the Rock House Diner while simultaneously dumping expository dialogue on each other. There's a lot of catching up to do. She-Dragon and Angel have both been in Dimension X for a long time, as chronicled in the She-Dragon one-shot, which we've also covered in another video. So the gang wraps up dinner, heads back to Alex's place to crash. They're followed by Dark Dragon and Battle Axe. Meanwhile, Bludgeon is raising hell. Longtime villain of Freak Force and Savage Dragon. He's about to clobber these police by tossing the 2 floors of a building on top of them. But his torso is vaporized, and he's instantly killed by Solar Man, the hero making good on his promise to stop criminals to a permanent end. And as the evening comes to a close, Dragon is preparing for a good night's rest when Alex pulls him aside to give him some news about his daughter. She says Angel has started her period. That's a tough spot for the Dragon, new territory for him as a father, believing her too young for this. But Alex reminds him that she's 12 years old now, and his little girl is not so little anymore. So, Dark Dragon and Battle Axe continue to stalk the heroes, waiting outside the apartment or the house. I can't tell. Once again, Battle Axe wants to attack immediately, but Dark Dragon wants to wait until they're asleep. The tension is palpable. You drive me crazy, she says. Oh yeah, he says. Then they start making out like a couple of horny teens on prom night on the next page here, stripping down and getting busy right on the rooftop. All the romance of a late-night Skinamax softcore feature, including the disappointment when you find out that the nudity promised during the viewer discretion screen was solely referring to a dude's bare ass in the sex scene. So speaking of TV, we'll go back a page. She-Dragon is watching the boob tube, catching up on world events and the nightly news. And the topic is Savage Dragon. What a terrible job he's done recently, blaming him for all the troubles in the world. But thank God for Solar Man, the savior of the world. Dragon asks her to turn that crap off. Everybody goes to bed. Dragon sleeping next to Angel, kind of going over all the crazy events happening in his life. It's hard to keep straight, he thinks. I think this is the author talking through his creation here. So now is the time to attack. As presented itself here. Dark Dragon and Battle Axe, they come crashing through the window. All that waiting. And she still misses her target, She-Dragon. Though she's double teamed, so Alex and Dragon come to the rescue. Alex throws on her power gloves and blindsides Dark Dragon. This is a man that she was romantic with on her original world. They kind of have a brief moment of recognition, and he's confused how she is here with kind of a concerned look on his face, and she's like, "Don't tell me that you missed me." And this reunion is interrupted when Battle Axe is tossed into the middle of them. So Alex's place is just getting destroyed. Dark Dragon bringing down the house. Angel comes out to see how the fight is going, and she tries to wake up She-Dragon, but Battle Axe approaches and is eager to kill this girl who's responsible for the destruction of her home. But she's got a surprise coming. Looks like the apple does not fall far from the tree. Angel has just shown the first sign of her super strength, punching Battle Axe right through the wall, the adrenaline kicking in, her fight-or-flight reflexes triggering an explosion of raw power laying dormant inside the young woman, just like her mother. So with Battle Axe out of the picture, it's 4 against 1. Dark Dragon taking blows from all these heroes, and he's laid out, finally, in this last page. And that takes care of that. But I got a feeling this is just the beginning, says Dragon. So, excellent issue. Lots to chew on. Let's get to Fanatics. Larson plugs the Savage Dragon archives. Over 600 pages, collecting the first 21 issues of Savage Dragon in glorious black and white. The most economical way to complete your collection. But that's not all. A new trade paperback, Savage Dragon Resurrection, collecting issues 55 and through 60. And the Mr. Glum plush toy, just in time for the kiddos at Christmas. That just leaves assorted letters from the fans with reaction to issue 125 and 126. John Stanton from Virginia, asking the important questions here. Will there be a variant of the She-Dragon statue with a mohawk? And the answer is yes. It even features a little Mr. Glum at the base. That's a great excuse to also show off the rear view of that statue. Thank you. That's about all the business here. There's a backup story with artist Matt Southworth and letterer Russ Wooten. This is the first published work for Southworth, who would go on to work with Greg Rucka on the creator-owned series Stumptown, which would see a live-action adaptation on ABC before getting canceled as a result of the COVID pandemic in 2020. He also has a band called the Capillaries, and I'll link to one of those videos as well. So this story is about Alex Wilde seeking out an old boyfriend, Chris Robinson, also known as the superhero Star. But it doesn't go very well. This guy has no clue who she is, and he's got a family of his own. So Alex is left with tears in her eyes as she walks away from, Chris Robinson there. I don't think we see him again. Let's see. We got more comic bits by Chris Giarrusso. A complete reset as all the multiverse worlds are destroyed and then reappear. A criticism of modern comics for sure, where no matter how drastic a story goes, everything reverts to the default status and there's no permanence in comics. Except for this damn Comedy Central mobile ad. This has been on the back cover forever, but I think this is the last time. The contract with Image Comics must have wrapped up at the end of 2006, thank God. So say goodbye to Stephen Colbert and Jon Stewart. Goodbye to Cartman and Mind of Mencia. Goodbye to Foxy from Drawn Together, and who the hell is this? I had to look it up. This is the conjoined twins from the show Freak Show, which was created by David Cross and H. John Benjamin. I had zero memory of that existing, but all right, that is it for real. Giant-sized 80-page issue 132 is next. Adios.